arrives without asking anything. Light settles gently across familiar walls, and the world begins another ordinary day. Nothing appears broken. Birds continue singing. Distant voices drift outside, and quiet routines unfold as always. Yet somewhere beneath that peaceful surface, the mind has already wandered far ahead, collecting worries from days that do not exist. It imagines conversations, mistakes, disappointments, and endings before beginnings have even arrived. The body remains here, but the heart keeps traveling elsewhere. Few people notice this invisible journey, though it leaves behind a tiredness deeper than sleep ever seems capable of reaching. Even after another morning begins, the wandering does not slow. Simple moments quietly pass unnoticed because attention keeps reaching toward tomorrow. A cup of tea grows cold, while imagined conversations become louder than real sounds. The mind searches every possibility, hoping enough thinking might prevent future pain. Outside, everything appears calm. Inside, invisible storms rehearse events that may never happen. Hours slip away without leaving memories, only exhaustion that feels strangely earned. The present waits patiently, but it is rarely chosen. Another imagined future quietly replaces this ordinary moment, and the cycle begins again, unnoticed by everyone, including the dreamer. Slowly, those imagined tomorrows begin feeling like remembered experiences. The heart reacts before life has spoken. Fear arrives early, disappointment settles quietly, and relief rarely stays. A single possibility can shape an entire day, even though nothing has actually happened. The body carries tension created by stories still waiting to be written. Invisible worries become familiar companions, visiting so often they seem trustworthy. Reality, meanwhile, remains quieter than imagination. Without noticing, the character begins grieving futures that never arrive, growing emotionally tired from carrying tomorrow's shadows through today's gentle light, forgetting how peaceful this ordinary moment once quietly truly felt. By now, the habit feels almost invisible. Every possible mistake is rehearsed before it exists, as though careful preparation might soften every future disappointment. The mind works tirelessly, believing constant vigilance is another form of safety. Yet with every imagined solution, another imagined problem quietly appears. Peace moves farther away, while control remains just beyond reach. Outside, life continues with surprising simplicity. Inside, endless planning slowly becomes its own burden. What began as protection quietly turns into exhaustion, leaving little energy for the gentle moments already unfolding, unnoticed beside the endless search for certainty. Somewhere beyond those restless thoughts, the present never stops waiting. Sunlight shifts across the floor, leaves move gently with the wind, and familiar sounds fill the afternoon without asking for attention. These quiet moments never compete with imagined futures. They simply remain, patient and unchanged. The world is smaller than the mind believes, yet richer than it often notices. While tomorrow keeps calling from a distance, today continues offering simple, unnoticed gifts. The contrast feels almost heartbreaking. Life has been unfolding softly all along, but the character has been living somewhere else, chasing days that never arrive. Then a quieter realization begins to appear, almost unnoticed. Perhaps the restless mind was never trying to create suffering. Perhaps it had been standing guard for years, believing endless worry could prevent deeper pain. Every imagined future was an attempt to avoid another hidden wound. This thought changes nothing overnight, yet it softens something inside. The harsh voice of self-blame becomes quieter, replaced by gentle understanding. The mind no longer seems like an enemy that must be defeated. Instead, it resembles a tired protector who forgot how to rest after carrying invisible fears for far too long. Looking back, countless feared tomorrows have already disappeared without becoming real. The disasters once imagined with complete certainty slowly dissolved into ordinary days. Many conversations never happened, many endings never arrived. The heart carried their weight anyway, believing each shadow was unavoidable. That quiet realization brings an unexpected sadness, yet also a gentle release. So much energy was spent surviving moments that existed only inside the mind. Life had continued in its own unpredictable way, sometimes difficult, sometimes surprisingly kind. The future remained uncertain, but it had never followed every fearful story, patiently written long before reality chose its own path. After that realization, the world feels quietly different. Nothing extraordinary has changed, yet something inside begins moving more slowly. The breeze against the window, the warmth of fading sunlight, and the distant sound of everyday life become easier to notice. They were always there, waiting without complaint. Tomorrow no longer seems louder than this moment. The present asks for nothing except gentle attention, and somehow that feels lighter than carrying endless possibilities. The future still exists beyond the horizon, but for now this small ordinary moment feels wide enough to breathe inside again with quiet peace. From that quieter place, strength begins to look different than before. It is no longer measured by predicting every possible outcome or staying prepared for every imagined disappointment. Instead, it appears in the simple willingness to remain present, even while uncertainty quietly exists beside every tomorrow. Questions remain unanswered, and the future keeps its secrets, yet the heart no longer rushes to fill every silence with fear. There is a calm courage in allowing life to unfold at its own pace. Hidden growth has been happening all along, softly replacing exhaustion with a gentler kind of hope. As evening quietly settles once more, the future still waits beyond the horizon, but it no longer fills every corner of the mind. The questions have not all disappeared, and uncertainty remains part of life, yet something softer has taken their place. Today no longer feels like a doorway that must be escaped. It becomes a place where breathing, noticing, and simply existing are enough. The invisible journey finally slows. What once felt like endless mental tiredness gently becomes quiet understanding, and within that peaceful acceptance, the heart discovers it was never truly behind, only searching too far ahead.